Abraham. Kai. I didn't know you went through all this. Oh. You know, after you left the teens church, when you got admission, I didn't see you. I didn't see you again. I didn't know. You know, you had always been this very smart boy in teens church. You understand me? Very with your sharp English, and you always
with my breakdancing and all
with your
that.
breakdancing, all that. You know, it was after we graduated, you and the other guys from teens church, and you got admission and went to University of Port Harcourt. I didn't hear anything about you again until I began to see certain things. The first time you met me, the first time after a long time you met me was when you began to have that challenge. You began to have that medical challenge. Please, can you tell us, how did it start? How did it, from that your addiction, how did it metamorphose to you now having that skin challenge? Please, let us know.
Well, that's it. Entirely long, different story entirely. So I think I'll just give the highlights. Then possibly in the next episode we'll dive details into it. Yeah. So while you're watching this, in case you want to get a full details about that part of the story, don't forget subscribe, like, and share, so that the same story you're listening that is touching your life right now will touch others too. Now, I'm going to start by doing this. There was a time, this hand, my bones were literally showing. Understand? There was a time like that, all here, my bones were literally showing. Imagine waking up in the morning and the first thing you have to do is to start cleaning maggots out of your body.
What?
Including my legs and all around. But it took the grace of God. Because I remember that I attempted suicide more than 3 times.
Yeah, there was a time you sent me, I remember there was a time you sent me a WhatsApp message. Yeah. And you said, Pastor, please pray for me. What I'm going through right now, that I'm almost, let me be honest with you. When all that time you meet me, you want to go to the hospital, I sent some money to you, and I kept sending some money sometimes when you meet me. So when I now met, Auntie Kemi, God bless you. Shout out to Auntie Kemi Ogunaike. I'm sure you'll be watching this. You are such a sweet mentor. You have mentored so many young people, and today they are great men and great women. Thank God for the way you followed up Abraham, and today look at what Abraham, even though he tried to, shout out to you, Auntie Kemi, and so many other aunties, Auntie Bimpe, Auntie Peace, Alagwa,
Akuma.
Every Akuma, all of you. I want to really give a shout out to you. You were truly mothers. You were truly mothers to these teenagers, and today I thank God that even your children, they all turned out to be very wonderful children, good children, and because you planted seed in the lives of these teenagers, and they are. So I remember when I began to ask questions, I think I meant Auntie Kemi or Auntie Peace, Lawa, and I said, this thing that Abraham is going through. Then I didn't know it had anything to do with addiction. I didn't know that it had anything to do with drug addiction. How can we help? How can we help this young man that came out from? That was when they told me. That was when I got to know that it was an addiction. That even each time they send money, you are using it to service. That was when I now began to withdraw. That was when I began to, but I didn't know to what extent. I'm just saying this. I didn't know to what extent. So please, how did it just metamorphose from, addiction? I know we have a lot of story. We have, that one is one full pack of its own. But in this,
well, it was part of the reaction from the drugs I was taking. Your body can only absorb so much. Because it didn't just affect me physically, it affected me mentally too. Like you said, I used to be a very jovial person.
Yes.
Always drama, comedy, choreography.
One young man that everybody just loved.
But at some point before I started restraining from everybody else. Started living in the world of my own, in my own imagination. I'll just sit down like this and I'll be facing one particular spot for more than like an hour. Lovely. I'm no longer there at that point in time. I'm in my own head. Understand? I could no longer socialize anymore. I was always withdrawn from everybody else. And there's a guilt that also comes with when you try to stop and fail. It makes you weak. It makes you feel helpless. Understand? It makes you feel helpless. And before you know, you begin to hate yourself. Now, my body started reacting to the continued usage of the drugs. My body started swelling. To gather blisters, it will burst. And instead of it to heal, it will decay. That was how it started. But like I said earlier, that's another different story entirely. But the thing is, there's something I would like, before we end this episode today, there's this place I would like us to go back to again.
Yeah.
Because I think most parents and most young teenagers will actually learn a lot from making the same mistake. No matter how you started, innocently, accidentally, experimentally, auditally, when you feel remember. It doesn't matter how you start.
Yeah.
The thing is the same road. The same road. Some people it's slower to take effect. Some people medium, some people fast. That's why you hear someone be like, he head no strong, nine make.
You just went
cool. You just cool. Understand? Why some people make mistake that their first time they overdo it. Understand? They didn't take time to build threshold. They overdo it and immediately it hits. Understand? So and you be like, my hair strong. The funny truth is the person when slowly kill. 9 diapers the person when kills.
Take it again.
Okay. The person when slowly kill, 9 die pass the person when kill once.
That is the person that this thing killed gradually. His death is, how will I say it, greater than the person that it killed once.
Yes.
And that's the truth. That's the truth. Because it needs the torture, the suffering. You know, a lot of people that are going through...
You will die emotionally, financially,
you'll be dying every
socially. Day. Understand?
Yes.
Do you know how many times I promised myself that I will never take this injection again? God, if I take this injection, strike me dead. I will never, God forbid. See, so most young, in short, not all addicts, if you gather all addicts, about 75% of them, understand, don't like what they're doing.
Yes. Yeah.
Understand? They might enjoy the feeling, but they hate that they're slaves to the feeling. Because you lose your self-will, self-esteem. See, that's why I tell people that, please, if you have someone struggling with drug addiction around you, and you have advised them a couple of times to stop, understand? And while you're talking to them, you see them crying, you see them serious and the rest, and before you know it, you hear that the person went back again. Please, don't be quick to throw them away. Because I went into rehab close to like 4 times, I'll be 5 times before I was able to come out. Another story for another day.
Yes.
Now, so if you have someone, don't be quick to throw them away. You be like, the phrase they usually, I don't advise them, I don't talk to them. You know one here, since you want useless himself, make him useless himself, they go.
And that was a mistake. And that was a mistake someone like me did when you were going through all that. You understand me? If I had this knowledge.
No, sir, it's not just, see, the truth is, I don't really blame most people that give up on me. Because come to think about it, that's why I'm begging parents today. Like he said, it's easier and better to avoid the situation than struggling with the situation.
Yes.
Rehabilitation is not cheap.
It's not at all.
Believe me, one of the most traumatic events that can happen to a parent, apart from losing a child, is having a drug addict as a child.
Yeah.
Because that child is not useful. At least a child that is dead, you know it's no longer dead.
Yes.
No expectation. You try to deal with your feeling, try to move on, understand, you cry. For this one, at least you cry for how long, understand, get used to the absence and move on.
You know, some parents actually wish that they are,
that drug addicts are dead.
Yes, they're dead.
Yes.
That's true. That's true.
You see, there was a time my father told my family that they should go and dump me in the village so that when I die, it will be easier for him to bury me, so that he won't have to waste money carrying my corpse from Port Harcourt to the village to go and bury me.
Kai.
You get? So the trauma is much. Understand? So it's difficult dealing with having someone that have an addiction, because especially when it's not your realm, it's not a domain.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to control what you can't, it's not within your hand. So when you take this person and put it in doctor's hand, you're waiting for which time he will recover. You're pushing in money, understand? You'll be maybe busy with some project, and the next thing you know, they have called you that you need to come visit. You have group therapy, you have family therapy, and all that. This precious time and resources ought to be used for something else. Not to talk less about the dangers and the consequences that come with being an addict, where you have to steal. Understand? Before you know, money is getting missing in the house. You come one day, you don't see television in the house anymore. Understand? And there was a time they had to chain me to the bed. The hospital bed. They had to chain me.
You went through all these things.
So, the thing is, I advise parents, pay attention to your children. You get? Because it's very possible that you will raise them well. But the world out there, especially when they go to university, your control is limited.
It's
limited. It's easier because, see, think about it this way. You give birth to them, understand? Nurture them before they could start reasoning to themselves and you start indoctrinating them with ideologies from yourself, understand, and possibly for the immediate environment. And to them, that is where life is. Understand? The whole world revolves around family. Understand? Mommy, daddy, uncle, like that, siblings and all that. Family. Before you know, you introduce him to possibly nursery school, primary school, and church. At that point in time, his life or her life revolves around church, school, family. That's the circle. Understand? So if he's leaving the house, either school, church, and possibly any of the friends you will have, maybe it's from school or from church.
Yes.
That's or relative. So you can always track whereabouts. And the child is still new in life. So that is the level of knowledge the child has been exposed to. By the time they finish secondary school, enter university, you have limited control. Because in university, you meet different people from different background, different upbringing, from dysfunctional home, from stable home, from orphans, different upbringing. You get some very toxic and damaged. Because it's so interesting how these days, even before it's adults, you say they are damaged.
Yeah.
But now, teenagers are damaged. You get? So you have those that are damaged from growing from a damaged home and all that. And your child that you spend so much time, invested so much time and resources to groom, is infused into the system to face it alone.
You know, it's a community of its own.
Its own.
With all freedom. They have freedom. You know,
why do you think they used to say that the 4 walls of
university? You know, in for those of them that probably went to boarding school, in boarding school there's a lot of restriction. Housemaster, house mistress, you don't do this. You have time. They have time when you will sleep. They have time when you go for prep. They have time. But in university, nobody cares. Nobody cares at all.
Even in the private university,
even some of the limited. Yes, even some of the universities that are very, strict. Yet
they are
still limited. You don't follow. You don't tell you in university. You of course nobody comes to tell you when to wake up. Nobody tells you when to go to class. Nobody tells you when to read. Nobody tells you when to do anything.
Nobody tells you or controls who you
associate with. So
nobody will go and call your parent and be like, your child have been following. I've warned your child to stop following this person.
Nobody tells you.
Nobody will have your father's phone number or your mother's phone number.
So it's a whole lot. So that is why it is important that we prepare them. It is important that we make them get ready. We educate them with this knowledge. It is important because the moment they step in, you understand me, they just see freedom. Freedom that, like you said, you know, the only time they have church, family, school, church, family, and they just have friends from church, from school, from family. But right now, they are meeting, and you are not careful. It's a big ocean.
And the funny thing is that there's always a pattern.
Yeah.
The child goes in still serious with the advice from the parents.
Exactly.
Hopefully this year, first class. I'm going with first class.
Your first class begins with first year.
Yeah, first year. Understand? I want to make A's and all that. I'm serious. Understand? You form me serious. And funny enough, innocently, the child thinks everybody is coming with the same motivation. Because in secondary school, everybody is struggling to carry first. And now only one person can carry first.
Of course.
University, everybody can carry first.
Abraham, that was my experience. When I got into university, I said it in my early video. When I got into university, the first set of people that I hung out with, they were just like everybody. We all came with the same mindset. We want to make first class. We want to be serious. So I had this group of students, friends that do different courses, but we were studious. We go to class together. We go to eat together. We do so many things together. But after my first year, I began to see the life began to open up to me. The life began to open up to me. All those things that I believed in, all those things that I came in with, all of them
will be challenged.
Then I now began to. So it's the same thing. So these children, they need to keep hearing this. They need to keep hearing this. Parents, you have a whole lot of work to do. A whole lot. Please, I want to ask you a question. This might be so private, but let's just step on it a little bit. Then we'll jump out. Then we'll continue. In all this, your parents, where were they?
There's two. Back then in school, they say it's an objective question. I've been an essay question.
I've been a jam question.
Okay. Now, this particular point, I'll answer it as an objective question.
All right.
Possibly
subsequently
I'll answer it as an essay question.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Now, they were more like spectators. They were not participants, they were spectators.
So which means we have parents that are spectators and parents that are participants. Okay?
Understand?
So please, can you just tell us the difference between a parent that is a spectator and a parent that is participant?
Now, both of them are divided into two categories based on my own analysis. Participant is, or let's say spectator, is divided into two. The one that's in Nigeria page, they'll say no send at all. Understand? You're out of mind, out of.
So the moment they bring you into the world,
understand? No, when the whole addiction,
okay,
understand, started,
yes,
and understand. So they were not even like the page, but in terms of upbringing, understand, they were in between.
Okay,
that's in between the second category and the first category. In between the second category of spectator and in between the first category of participants. Understand? I come from a complicated home.
Oh. Wow.
Understand? A complicated home. My dad was a civil servant. My mom was a full-time housewife. And we had to deal with a lot of things and a lot of traumas growing up. So, even when I became an addict, I couldn't even tell them. The first and the only person I was able to tell, confident enough to tell at that point in time, was Mommy Kemi.
Because she was always there.
Definitely. My family even knew her. What my family used to call her was your mommy. Understand? When they want to ask of her, like, how is your mommy now? Understand? That was how much. Understand? That was how much.
Kemi, I love you.
Understand? My family. Yeah. And even if they wanted to threaten me, they'd be like, if I report you to Auntie Kemi, I'll report it to your mommy. That's because she played more of a parent role when it came to moral building. My dad provided normal meals, feeding and all that. Once in a while, helped with secondary school fees and assisted,
and shelter.
Understand? And shelter. And shelter. Now, but when it came to moral molding, my family was
zero.
Out of it. Son, I thank God that God brought me a woman like Barrister Kemi. Because till today, most of the morals. And funny enough, during my recovery, when I was seeking for help, one of the things that people admired about me was my morals.
Yeah.
Understand? And because at some point in time, when I admitted that this is this and I need help, I started holding back to the principles I was raised with, which honesty was part of it.
That's Auntie Kemi embedded in you, too. Not your parents.
Understand?
Auntie Kemi and some other,
now, and the funny thing is even there was one time a situation happened in my house and my dad would be like, Abraham, you know, you need a lie. Waiting happen. Understand? Because that's when they know me for that fact.
That I have always known you.
Understand? That's
yes.
If you want to.
That's why I was surprised.
Yes. So I could remember there was one time when we were young. Understand? Then we were still staying in Diop and teenagers. There was this my neighbor's daughter, and we were all together, boys, and she was the only girl and all that. So one of the neighbors said playing unnecessary, sexual advances, inappropriate advances, and all that. Then the father of the boy, which were in the room, came in, understand, and met us, all of us inside. And the boy was shocked, and the next started transferring the lie. He was trying to defend himself and all that. So the man happened to be a troublesome person, and now came out in the compound and started yelling. The first thing that my dad did was call me. I was like, Abraham, what happened? Because he knew that I wouldn't lie. And I explained what happened. Until we left that compound, that guy held that grievance against me. So that is something that I was embedded with. Understand? By this, my godmom. Understand? She raised me as her own. That even back then, everybody would be like, understand? And Mommy Kemi Pikin.
Yes.
Understand?
Yes.
So if anybody want to report anything, they go and report to her.
Exactly.
So when it came to moral, she raised me that way. Understand? She raised me that way. And there was one thing there was a slogan that helped me fight through this all through the years. Understand? That she taught me. and it's always embedded in my head is Abraham never disappoint God and the few people that believes in you.
Yes.
She always ringed that into my ear every time. So growing up, listen, that was like a motto. Everything I was doing revolves around that motto, never disappoint. So that was one of my first suicide attempts, understand, came when I found out that, or I thought that I have disappointed God and the few people that believed in me. Understand? So life was no longer worth living. That's when I attempted my first suicide. Understand? Now, the thing is, this is when these children go to school.
Yes.
Understand?
Yes.
You can be a participant or you can be a spectator. Understand? There are some parents that all they do is they just give money. Because in our generation these days, we have made to believe that parenthood is all about just providing financial resources for your children. But your presence matters too.
Yes.
Your guidance matters. And the way Satan have designed the society today is in a way where both parents are so busy chasing money that they have time to groom the next generation. And that's why you notice that every generation seems to be getting worse. Because most parents are busy chasing survival that start to groom the next generation. And to be honest, Pastor S, if we are not careful, our children's generation will be way worse than us. Because I can remember when I was young back then, if you see someone smoking cigarette, the person is seen as an irresponsible person.
Yes.
Talking less of weed. If you see someone smoking weed, the person is a typical criminal.
Exactly. But now,
if you're not smoking weed, understand, you're not taking crack, you're not doing drugs, more like you don't know what's up. I bet you leave this one that Jew.
It's a Jew.
Understand? So when you understand, that is, and you, because of your insecurity and inferiority, understand, begins to, you're not sure of yourself. And that is where most of these young people that go into school becomes endangered. Because Satan preys on their insecurity. So parents, never make your child feel like they are not good enough, even though they are not carrying first in class. What you tell your child most times, to you, it was out of anger. To you, it was out of jest. Rest in that child's mind. You know why? Going through life, these are their first memories they encounter. That's why a child is easy to believe anything you say, because they don't know any better. And by the time they unlearn what you have already put inside them it's already a default.
Yes.
It has caused several damages. There are some girls today that they can never trust the man simply because they come from a dysfunctional background where that was what they viewed.
Yes.
There are some people that are drug addicts today that do drugs and see drugs as a normal thing because that's the same kind of family and setting they grew up in. Understand? Now, there are some also people that grew up with insecurity because they were never felt relevant enough and made to understand who they were from the house.
Yeah.
Understand? And please, the era of Father Christmas and fairy tales is going into extinction. Parents, it's time we face reality. Okay, I won't say we. I'm not a parent yet. So, which very soon, anyway. But the truth is,
you have people that you're mentoring right now.
You don't need to be a driver to know how to repair a car.
No, you already have people that you are mentoring.
Yes, I do. I started up a campaign. Yes, understand, where against drug abuse and drug addiction, where I go to schools and all that. So I have people that I follow up on this. Now, please, always make your child, even though they do little. Because the truth is, your mind will always show you what you want to see. You become a reality, like your reality is a product of your visualization. You will never think about cup except you know that cup exists.
Yeah.
I don't know if you understand.
Yes.
So if all your life, all you know as cup is this, is this. The day you go outside, you see a plastic cup or a coconut that was designed as cup and they call it cup. You will first of all doubt it.
Yes.
That no. This is not scope.
This is not what you know.
Understand? No, at first it's not what you know.
No, yeah.
You are not trying to prove the person that you are wrong. No, a cup is white. Understand? A cup have handle. Understand? A cup is made up of. You start describing this, and that's not what you're saying. And that person now, based on his own conviction, begins to prove to you that coconut, understand, the coconut shell is cup. That what is cup used for? Drinking. Isn't it? Look at it now. I've taken water. I've drunk. Is it not a cup? And you begin to doubt what you have known about this. You get? And begin to think that is superior. And especially when they come up and start telling you that it's natural. Understand? Now God do it. You get me? Because there are people that tell you that smoking marijuana is God. Understand? Now God puts it for earth. Understand? It was God that created it.
It's a plant.
It's a plant that God created.
Plant, yes.
Understand? And it's medicinal. Although I don't dispute the fact about its own medicinal purposes. Almost all drugs in the world or pharmaceutical use plants.
It's the abuse.
It's the abuse we are talking about.
Yes.
You're smoking weed. Was it prescribed for you? Understand? What condition do you have? You say suffer heads, suffering. Please, they have been suffering from ages and they will still be suffering. And because, okay, if you take the weed today, does the weed stop the suffering? No, they give me inspiration. Understand? I want to say how to get inspiration. If it's like that, all weed smokers and all drug users would have been geniuses.
Yeah.
How many of them don't invent anything? Only when you go studio, now they get inspiration. The truth is, there is nothing that comes out of it that is not already there.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's another day. Listen. Now, the interesting part is the inferiority now comes with that person being able, and someone can, when someone speaks so confident about something, understand? Even if the person is wrong, there's a way the person can market something to you, you think the person is right.
Yeah.
And even doubt your own self, especially when you're not sure. You get? And the next thing, when the person is able to make you prove that that's also a cup, understand? You now start thinking, oh, this person must be more intelligent than me. Look at the way he explained everything. My parents did not ever explain it like this to me. And they made me believe that this was, and I now came here and made myself look stupid. Now you are beginning to doubt the indoctrination of your parents because you saw something that defied an item. Now you're not questioning everything else. You get? Then when another thing comes where that have to do with not an item but yourself, because the truth is it starts with planting seeds with the doubts and making you feel like you're not good enough. That's why they'll tell you that maybe because you carry first for secondary school, no means say you carry first class for university. Again, make you doubt yourself. And at that point in time, you see someone that is smoking something or doing drugs, and the person is so cool. And the funny part is, it's so sad how women these days are becoming more into drugs than men.
How I noticed that, but can you just throw more light to that?
Okay.
Because when naturally when they talk about those that are addicts, the first thing that comes to people's mind is a guy. You understand me? But now that more women are into it. Please, can you just throw a little light?
Okay. If you're doubting this, go to rehab sessions.
Whoa.
Because the rehabilitation center where I did mine in Benin, they still invite me once in a while, understand, to talk to other drug addicts, using that if I could recover, understand, they can also recover, encourage them. And you will see beautiful young girls. There was one recently, the person was a lawyer, a barrister. Understand? She's practicing. But she had to, she became hooked with drugs, understand, became a junkie, understand, have not been able to practice for a while, and became pale, macheted, understand, lost sense of reality, lost opportunities and all that. This is a lady. There was another one they brought. That one was I think a pastor, an elder in church, the daughter. That one was just about to go to law school.
And I'm sure this thing started from school, from university.
Exactly. Go to law school. And they had to rush her because she came to home one day wasted. And they had to rush her to rehabilitation. So the condition before the reason why they even had to let her leave rehab was because they were like, okay, you will not go home from rehab, you're going straight to law school. Listen, now, these are women. There was one I met, this girl was 15 years old. SS1. She was addicted to Arizona.
Arizona, is it not the cough?
No.
Okay.
We have drugs plenty. And the funny truth is, they invent more every time. This same oncolos you're hearing, Colorado, oncolos. It was just a couple of years ago it was invented. It was not in the market before. Now, initially it was weed to SK. Understand? SK is like chemicals involved with weed. Understand? SK, just that it have more higher power. SK to Arizona. Understand? And like that. So people keep experimenting with these things, looking for, even to the extent people use physis, the gas from Sockaway to get high. Understand? Even there's a one trending now that people take the bone of the dead, they go to dig graves to.
What?
Yes. To make them get high, turn them to drugs. So now the thing is, imagine the kind of toxic society we have. So parents, don't be too busy, understand, chasing money.
Yes.
But to be honest, all that money you gathered in the bank,
you will spend them
buying an expensive phone for your child, and thinking that because you bought she's in a good school, you bought her a good phone, she's living a good life, she's not hungry, means she's okay, or he's okay. Believe me, when that child falls prey to addiction, the reason why I'm taking this personal is because what I went through is not something I wish on my worst enemy. Believe me. When that child falls on addiction, you won't even have the time, except if maybe you have heartless parents. Except if maybe you have heartless parents. And no matter how, I have one now that they returned back to rehab again. He was in rehab before, they had to return him back again. The mom is in the US. The dad is also abroad. So they are here now. Two of them are addicted to drugs. It's only the sister that is managing to do well. Based on the parents have tried several times. The father gave up. I'm like, man, I'm not. You guys, I don't have you guys as children anymore. I'll just focus on the girl. And due to the love of the mother couldn't give up on the children. And she too is bearing the pain. So the truth is that money you think you're chasing, understand? You want to claim you want to leave a legacy. Please, how much of a legacy do you think you can leave to a junkie? I don't know if you understand. Because a junkie is willing to sell this whole building for 5,000 naira. My power bike, how much did I sell it?
Oh, okay. I wanted to even ask you what happened to that power bike.
You understand? My power bike, how much did I sell it? I sold it for 35,000.
What?
As of then, if I was to sell that power, and I bought it brand new. As of then, if I was to sell that power bike, plus or minus 850 or so, I sold it for 35,000 naira.
Just to satisfy.
That same 60 inches smart TV I told you about, I sold it for 15,000.
What?
Family size phone, 15,000. All my equipment in the shop, sold them for peanuts. So, at least, I was lucky that at least I had things to sell. So imagine whereby I was pushed to the desperation of having to start stealing and doing illegal things.
That is why so many people enter into robbery.
Understand? And one thing about drugs is it's a circle. Most of the girls that do hookups, understand, a higher percentage of them is drugs. Take drugs.
Yes.
Why? Because they can't stand who they want to sleep with.
Exactly.
In order to numb themselves or help them enjoy the moment, understand, they take drugs, understand, and to do whatsoever they want to do. And the funny thing is, like, I'm doing it for mama, I'm doing it for papa, I'm doing it for younger ones and all that. Congratulations. Give yourself whatsoever excuse you give yourself to. But the truth is, the life still runs in a circle. Because the money you get from sleeping with that person, what happens? You use it to buy phone, buy bag, buy clothes so that you look better for the next man. Then you now use that money to buy more drugs for the next man. By the time there's no money, no customer yet, understand? And you need the drugs, you start selling the phone, the bags, and all that you bought, understand? And to buy the drugs again, you meet another man again, you get money, you buy the phone back, buy the bag back, take drugs again. When there's no customer, you sell. So you see a circle. Understand? But the funny part about this circle is time doesn't wait for any man.
Yes. You're getting
now,
older.
Imagine when I started this, I was just a fresh graduate.
Yes.
Now, my mates are married. I have a classmate that is getting married in Port Harcourt next week Saturday.
Most of those your contemporaries in Teens Church, most of them are married.
Are married.
Most of them they have children.
Wisdom have a child now.
Yes, they have family.
Yes.
Now, and they are doing very well.
Very well.
And look at the time that you lost.
Yes. So a 6-year-old child. Imagine I got married then. Understand? A 6-year-old child. How big do you think that child will be by now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And yet 6 years of my life
wasted.
Gone. All I can do now is trust God for restoration.
He will. Now let's Abraham, this, I don't know, because we are here to help people. God comforted us in these our afflictions that we went through, like me, my cult experience and everything, and God did that. And the reason why, he did that so that we can also help those, and that's the major reason why we started this podcast, to be able to reach out to those that are vulnerable, to those that are still struggling, to give them hope, and if possible also give them a lending hand to help pull them out from that. I need us in a short while we start, this history is long. Story is long. We have not even delved into where we're going to take this in another episode, where he's in and out of rehab, and then how he was able to navigate himself and what he's doing right now. But I want us to really take time to, because a lot of young ones now will be going back to university, because this is where they get them. This is where they get them into cult. This is where they get them into drugs. So I want to ask you a question. Now, how do they lure this? What are the possible loopholes that a child that is entering university should watch out for and try to avoid? Because this thing, unlike not is almost the same thing. In cult groups now, they don't tell you. Sometimes they just, get you, intoxicated, and before you know what's happening, they've initiated you. But this, how? What are the loopholes? What are the things they should watch out for? What are the things they should watch out? Because we need to. Prevention is cheaper than cure. So please, what are the things? Let's talk to parents. Let's talk to
when it comes to drug addiction, you see that your phrase of prevention is cheaper than cure. When it comes to addiction, prevention takes no cost at all.
It takes no cost
than walking away than what you spend on cure. And the funny truth about drug addiction is there is no cure. It's a chronic illness. Ask any doctor. Even up to today, I've been clean for 2 years now. I've not had any relapse, because before I was totally clean, there was a time I would be clean for a while, I'll relapse again, I'll fight and come. But by the grace of God, understand, this I think this is August, right?
Yes.
Okay, that'll make it 2 years
straight.
Understand? That I've been totally clean. And the thing is, even as I've been clean, I'm still fighting. I avoid triggers. That's the reason why I've not come back to Port Harcourt all this while.
Yes.
Because my psychologist, understand, my therapist, they advised me that this environment,
because this is where it started.
You understand, it's not healthy for me.
Yes.
Understand? Apart from the emotional trauma I have to go through, understand, having to see my mates moving ahead of me and all that, there are so many triggers here. There are so many places I'll walk through and I'll remember when I took something here. There are so many, I'll pass by and I'll see where I bought something.
You see one chemist.
Understand, familiar things, understand. And I also see people that share the same mindset with me. So it's not healthy. Understand? So to them, they felt it was better I stay in Benin, understand, and start from scratch there until I'm mentally and emotionally and physically fully healed. Understand? That it's always better and safer to start from a new environment before I can choose if I want to come back or not. Now, why I mentioned that example is environment plays a role. Understand? Environment plays a role. Then, if your child is staying off K, which means off campus, understand, what kind of environment is the child staying? Understand? Is the child staying alone? Does the child have a roommate? If the child have a roommate, do you know who the roommate is and what kind of association the roommates have? I don't know if you understand. Because sometimes we look for, no, I don't want to stay in campus, or there's no space in campus. Understand? There's no slot in campus, in the hostel. Okay, so, look for roommates within your course. And you live with a total stranger. Understand? And there's no way you live in the same house with the same person that ideology will not be exchanged. And we live in a society that doubts and tests your goodness every day. So I think this helps. Be careful of your association. Who are your friends? Understand? Who are your friends? Who do you hang out with? Understand? Who do you chill out with? Do you have a reason to chill out? What are your priorities? You get? Because when you're in school, you want to enjoy the freedom, you want to soar, you want to explore.
That's
understand? You want to explore. A bird that is too curious to pick everything that looks like worm on the floor will one day pick the tail of the serpent and be swallowed by it. Understand? So while you're soaring your wings, understand, don't forget that there are predators everywhere. Spread with caution. So if you know this person have tendencies, or you see the person follow people that, the Bible says, guide your mind with all diligence, because there comes the issues of life.
Yes.
There is no action you take that is not a product of your thoughts. And the environment you are, the people you hang around, play a vital role on how you think. There's a thing I usually tell my female friends. And I'll be like, you see the same way, or not just my female friends, all my friends, both male and female. Like, you see the same way you choose a life partner. You're very careful. Understand? Before you married your wife, you prayed, you were careful, and all that. Understand? Before you married her. Like, be more careful how you choose those you keep around you than how you pick a life partner. You know why? Because the people you keep around you are the people that will mold you to become the person that your life partner will have to deal with for the rest of our life.
Yeah. It's deep.
Understand?
Yes.
They will be the one to mold you. So be more careful of them. So even if you don't need to have crowd. You can have acquaintances. Cool. But have to differentiate the difference between neighbor, friends, acquaintance, co-worker, understand, classmates. Know how to set boundaries. Understand? Because someone cannot just come and start suggesting just anything to you if you have not created that space for it.
Yes.
That doesn't mean you should be rude to anybody or should be judgmental to anybody. And you don't be in a hurry to go and start advising them what you are doing is wrong.
Don't confront them.
Don't confront them. Understand? Because the truth is, at some point, they themselves can over confuse you and make you believe that what? Have you not gone for evangelism before and you meet someone and someone tries to convince you that Jesus does not exist?
Yes.
It's a fairy tale. And they are so convinced about it. And if you don't have a solid conviction about who Christ is, you might also start considering what they are saying.
Exactly.
No wonder. Especially the trend of now Western empire. You get. Then another part, I think in previous episodes I'll hit more.
Yeah.
Another part I want to dig on is you see that area of parties. This is what they usually do. You go to the party, I don't take alcohol. Okay. No problem. You don't take alcohol, no problem. But we have juice. Okay, thank you. They now bring juice in their party red cup.
That red cup. Dangerous
and
cup.
And now give you, understand? You now be sipping. They'll be looking at everybody.
And the thing will be sweeting you.
The ones that are dancing. The ones that are twerking. The one you're laughing at. Look at that one. Look at that. Oh my. I beg, leave them. Understand? To you, before you know, just from, you were quiet since so. You were just quiet, just nodding head. You're uncomfortable being there in the first place. But after sipping one or two, before you know, you're like, look at that. He's just making fool of himself. Understand? Before you know, you're sipping more. Before you know, you that used to, let's say you're an introvert. You don't know anybody there. You are not on top of the ceiling, holding the ceiling, shouting, hey. Understand? Everybody's telling you, go. And you're like, oh. You're everywhere. Understand? Before you know, and because it's your first time, and you don't know the amount of dosage you have taken, most of the time they pass out. And most of them end up being raped. Being
initiated into cult.
And some of them are killed and their parts.
Yes, exactly.
Trafficked. Understand? So they don't know these things. You see the risk out there now. Because what they do is, when they can use, you see, in short, if you go to visit anybody and they give you Indomie, especially the girls, understand? Or you are in the hostel, your fellow boy, you know, guys now, guys paddy, you understand? And you go, are they hungry? What you cook? I cook beans. Understand? And you look at the beans, you see something like spice. My brother, they know they use spice, they cook beans. I know, so I don't be chef, but me, I know say they know use spice, they cook beans. After eating it,
even Indomie,
Indomie.
That's the fastest
yes.
food they can prepare.
Understand? Indomie.
Not only Indomie, no.
Rice.
They cook rice, they cook stew, they cook everything. Sauce, but the most important thing.
And the funny, there's even the one they use to do yam. Understand? They'll use the water they boil out of maybe they'll boil the wheat.
The wheat, yes.
The water they'll use it to boil
the yam.
Understand?
Oh, gosh.
Boil yam.
Kai.
And they'll not turn it to porridge. Put a
Kai.
You get? And you seeing it, especially now that everybody's complaining of hunger. That's who wants free food now? Why not go rush? So don't, in the name of free food, go and rush yourself to free condemnation. Listen, before you know you eat. And the funny thing is, sometimes this guy do it out of jest. They might not intentionally want to introduce it. And believe me, there is nobody as charitable and free giver than a drug user. To someone that doesn't use. When you hear the word, there is love in sharing. Drug users. Especially when you are not yet an addict. Yes. There's what they call pop-off pass. You can meet a total stranger that you don't know before. You have never met from Adam, existence of the world. And you meet them and they're smoking drugs. Understand? I'd be like, guy, how far? What's up? Make a drag small now. Make a just drag small. The guy, normally when you meet someone, like, how are you doing? What's your name? You introduce yourself. This one, once you just mention, make a drag small now.
You don't even know whether
there's anything. Because what is ever is in the saliva doesn't count. What you want to know is drag. And before you know, you start conversating on rubbish that have nothing. About this government there. I wish Tinubu now if we just fall and die. Make this government. You should make them sell this country, make them share the money. This one, my brother. It's always a popular topic that starts it. And as the conversation starts, you that plan on just taking one drag. Both of you are not sharing love. So, these angles are things, beware of association, beware of where you go to. In angle of inferiority, I'm going to end with this analysis. Then later,
we'll talk about
in next episodes. Listen, I pray that God give me grace and to be here.
Yes. He has promised us. He has promised us. He's coming back
in this studio once again.
Yes.
So now the thing is, I'm going to round up with this analysis. I believe you know God exists.
Yes.
And I believe you know that God doesn't make mistake.
Of course.
Okay. If God doesn't make mistake, let's calculate this. Out of all the planets, how many planets do we have, Pastor?
We have more than 9 planets now. They've discovered more planets.
Okay, but secondary school, they're talking at 8.
8.
Okay.
But they've discovered more planets.
Okay, let's stick to 8. Eh? So, out of 8 planets, God chose planet Earth. Out of all the continents in planet Earth, God chose Africa. And out of all the countries in Africa, God chose Nigeria. Sorry, Pastor, where are you from?
I'm from Abia State.
Where in
Nigeria.
Where in Abia?
Isialangwa North.
Okay. Out of all the states in Nigeria, God chose Abia State. Out of all the local government, choose
Isialangwa North.
Good. And out of all the villages, he chose that particular village you're from.
Yeah.
And out of all the families in that village, God chose that particular family, that particular mother and father at that particular time for you to be born. Doesn't that tell you that's the most perfect place in the whole of existence for you to exist?
Exactly.
Because there will never be another you.
There will never. There are no 2 yous.
There might be another Pastor Excellence later that look exactly like you, talk
unique.
Like you,
yes.
Move like you, but there will never be another Pastor Excellence that was born to that same. Understand? That was, you might even have identical twin. Understand? Yeah. But the person will not go through the same experience you went through. Have the same friend. That's why you notice two twins are not like the same things.
Exactly.
Even though they like something similar, they don't marry the same men. They don't roll the same way. They have individual minds. And as long as they have individual minds, they are exposed to different informations. And how they interpret informations determines how their thought process goes. And how their thought process goes determines their personality. And their personality determines how they put out to life. And how they put out to life determines the results they get back from life. So there will never be another you. So understand this, everyone. You are the most perfect of perfection God have. God does not have a replica of you. There will never be another you. So don't allow someone else. Be proud to be good. And also understand that simply because you're good does not mean others are good. Be proud to be good. It takes more strength to be good in a bad world than to be bad. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Abraham. God, I'm sure we all have enjoyed this, but we have so much from him. We, because of our time, we had to plead with him. My crew and we had to plead with him. He came all the way from Benin to Port Harcourt to do this. So we had to plead with him to just, stay with us and come back for another episode. We have not had so much. We have not had, what he went through, and we've not had how he came out. That one is very important, because a lot of people will be wondering, so how did you, for 2 years now, you've not relapsed for 2 years. So how did it happen? So we're going to hear that in the next episode. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like, share, and comment. Now, what will help us now, I know we're going to be having so many questions. Please go to the comment section and ask your questions. We're going to, in the next episode where we're going to bring him, we're going to ask him some of those questions. He will be answering the questions. And we're also going to have experts that will also answer some of your questions on the comment section. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. It's very important that you subscribe. Parents, please, your children must hear this. They must watch this. And you get informed, because it is, you cannot give what you don't have. You cannot give what you don't have. So if you know more, you can be able to advise them very well. You can be able to help them stand out. So until we come back next time, I want you to also go back to our previous videos. Go back to our previous videos and you will watch. You hear some of the things that you have said. I've mentioned some of those things. You understand? Here he's expanding them. And when it's a total thing, we are here to help. We are here. God has helped us. We are being, delivered. We have escaped. Our souls have escaped as a bird from the snare of the fowler. The snare is broken and we escape. And our help is in the name of the Lord who made heaven and earth. Remember, stand out, don't blend.